your dreams and bring your heart. Every journey has a place to start. No matter where you're standing now, one to wait somehow. One small page, one painted sky, 1,000 places passing by.
Hello, welcome. Your presence matters so much to me. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Rose. I'm the creative guide and the artist behind Wild Rose Bohemian. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update before we get started on the Secret Garden Journal and where I'm at with that. So it's coming along nicely. A few questions people had. One was, did I glue this portion down? And I did actually glue it here, but it still opens all the way. It's just this part isn't flat. That's okay for me. Let's see. To kind of give you an overview of what I have happening here. This needs some help and a little bit of refinement. That's on my to-do list for working with the end of my journal. Oops. And I've got to decorate this pocket, and then I've got to work with the things and the items that I have left and fill up my journal and prioritize the elements and things that I'm going to use. What I'm going to do in this particular video is I'm going to work a little bit slower and do something I don't usually do, which is to talk you through my decision-making process as I finish my journal so that you understand how I prioritize things. And I'm sharing that not because I believe it's the right way to do. Usually I don't like to share these things, but I'm understanding that maybe my thought process and my process may be helpful to you in developing your own process. Not necessarily, if there are things that resonate with you what I do, great. So we're just going to number the tricks, and the first place that I'm going to pay attention to is my edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just navigate on this one. How much room do I have? Notice here in this space here, I have more space up here, and I'm someone that really loves to have my journal overflow and expand beyond what it is, but I'm not going to do it on the bottom because I'm going to want it to sit upright like this on a shelf. So I know that I'm going to have some room here, and then it not coming out too far on this side because it meets this area right here. So I'm going to do a little bit, but not a lot. And the edges that I do will probably be more paying attention to the edges that don't expand past the edge of the page, because I kind of know that's about my border here. The first thing I'm going to do is I love tabs. I don't know about you, but I love tabs. So I before I started this whole process, so before I should say this about the edges, the first thing that I did was go through and I went through the items that are left, and I let my heart decide very quick. If it wasn't a yes, then it was a no. So I went through every piece that I had left, and if my heart didn't say yes, then I put it in the no pile. That didn't mean that I wouldn't use it later, or I might not use it later. And sometimes there were a few of them where I knew there was a hesitation, so I put a maybe pile. That was helpful for me to know that these items, yes, these are the ones that I really want to focus on getting into my journal. And so I'm going to use those first in my decision-making process because I'm narrowing things down. So one of the things that I did want to do, and what is important to me, this is why I started with the edges, is what I'm saying. So if I was going to add any lace, now would be the time that I would be adding any lace. Here's some samples of some edging that is the lace edging or some fabric edging. So my actual favorite is paper ruffle that looks sort of like it might be lace. So this is like a ruffled edge. Have a whole tutorial. You can see why it's one of my favorite elements. And I'm actually not going to add much lace here. Usually I add more, but I'm not, because I've got quite a few decorative pieces that I want to put on the edge, and those are some of the things that I'm going to show you. So with no further ado, we'll get started with the tips. I like tabs, so I got out my tabs. I'm just going to set this aside for a minute. Just got out tabs, okay, and I'm going to use them all. That's my goal. Because I like them. If you're actually very many. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to decorate these. That's my goal. I'm going to put a little bit of these little, I don't know if I can get it to focus. Oh, come on. No, not happening. Oh, there we go. I'm going to just decorate and add some words, some labels, or anything that I might want that were ones that I wanted to work with on here. Like I might have, these are a little big for what I'd like, but you know, sometimes I can, we will do that, create a little bit of a collage underneath it. So if I have a scrap or something else that I'm wanting to add to my edge, something I could do is like maybe something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's a place to make a little collage or something that's going into your page also. So you can either do it before you put it on the page or after you do it on the page. Right now I'm actually going to do it before I put it on the page because I'm fairly committed. So I'm going to use this. It's right, almost the exact.
Pack your dreams and bring your heart. Every journey has a place to start. No matter where you're standing now, one to wait somehow. One small page, one painted sky, 1,000 places passing by. From every home a light can shine. Your story walks with mine. When you can't buy the ticket, see the world with your own eyes. Until then, follow your heart. We'll meet in beautiful places, one page at a time. Follow your heart, create something beautiful. Gather beautiful moments, share the wonder. Around the world, one destination at a time. No matter where life finds you, the world will meet you there. Versailles opens candlelit doors where dreams begin behind the mask.
Okay, so I tend to keep a needle and thread on hand, and I'm just going to use the thread to secure some of the little charms that we made. Actually, I'm not sure I like that there. Just changed my mind, but I might want a couple of stitches. So I think instead of that, I'm going to put a couple of stitches. Okay, so I'm just going to set these aside because they're going to be ready to go when I get to that stage of my journal, but I wanted to make sure that I had some of those done. I did a little bit of stitching on it and decided not to actually stitch one of these charms down to that, but I will. So let me show you the next thing. So I can often do that when I have this kit included quite a few of these little lace pieces. They're edge pieces or decorative pieces. So I'm going to add these to my edges of my journal in different places, and a couple of them I'm going to make like a little collage or a little bit of a tuck spot on the edge. These are ones that I had. So I don't have a lot of pages because they're in between different journals. So I may add some of these to some of the other journals. So let's go ahead here. So this is kind of a plainer page, and I will just, it can accept something that's probably fairly bright. So I'm just gonna begin to add. I'm gonna use Fabri-Tac for quick adhesion. These could be used for belly bands, so I encourage you to do that also. But they can also get a collage on them if you want to collage just the same way that you did your tabs. These I'm just not wanting to go all the way to the edge. It just gives me a little bit of a decorative border. So I'll vary that a little bit. Kind of thinking about going, I often divide what I have by the number of signatures. So it looks like right now what I've got cut out, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it looks like I'm about 4 of them in each of these signatures here. That means that I'm going to also put 2 of them on the right side and 2 of them on the left side. And that way when I'm random, when I've divided things up like that, I kind of am able to create some balance. It's not as random as completely might be imagined, but that's how I break it up in my head. Kind of the amount of elements that I'm going to want to incorporate. It's kind of the same way that I figure my signatures. So I'm just going to move this. It doesn't mean that I can't add something to the page here, but I'm really just wanting to add the decoration so that some of the page is filled up. This is a great place to do hand stitching on the edges if you like to do that. But you also end up with little bits that you can use to collage the other parts of your edges. So we have 1, 2. So let me just think about that. And these are varied also, so I'm not going to put all of the same ones in the same signature. So notice I also chose different ones, so I'm not going to load up on the same ones. Let's have that here. To get this to pop a little more, I'm going to use some ink. I didn't use as much ink with this kit as I normally do because I felt like the colors were pretty muted already, and adding some of the sepia tone didn't give it really the effect I wanted. I experimented with quite a few of the different inks, and I just didn't find anything I liked better than the Vintage Photo, but I've been using it pretty sparingly and mostly to like do repair on edges or places that needed a little bit of pop and standing out. So I've got 2 on the right side right now, and I'm going to need to add 1 more, but on the left side.
Hand in hand, America says, be brave enough to begin. Scotland sings through misty highlands, where friendship always finds a home. Paris whispers, be completely, beautifully you. Louisiana dances where lanterns glow beneath the moon. Norway rises from the fjords, quiet strength against the sky. Prague, Noel lights December, hope shining in every window. Some journeys begin with a passport, some begin with a single page. Some begin after everyone else has gone to bed. Every journey begins the moment you follow your heart.
Okay, let's work with some of the pieces. I love these. These are some of my favorite pieces of the kits that I do. And what I found was kind of interesting was that it evolved out of just needing a place, needing to fill the space with something. But I use these a lot because it's nice to have just a little bit of a pop of a pattern. And what I'm going to do is cut out my edge, but I'm going to create a long tab that goes along the edge with these, and I'm going to make it a little bit kind of minimal, so you can make it double depending on how much you want things to hang over. So I'm not going to want mine to hang over a lot, but that's how you're going to make a page tab, probably about, yeah. Okay, so it doesn't matter if they're exactly the same width, because one is going to be on one side and one is going to be on the other. You do want to line it up, and what you want to do is basically just make them exactly the same length. Oh. Just kind of guessing here. And I'm saving these little bits for my next little project. So when you add it to the edge, it can escape off the edge. It can be inside. That's fine. I'm going to actually just put this out just a little bit. And what I'm going to do is add glue right on the very edge. Not a lot. Enough to keep these together so that they don't move. Just barely. This is probably, you can glue however much you want to stick out. So if you wanted it to stick out, you know, you can glue more of it together, because I don't want a lot of it to stick out, but I still want it to be like a tab. Make sure they're going the right direction. These are more directional patterns, so I'm just putting those together like that because they're still gonna slide. Right onto my edge. Just right like that. This is a great place to collage something if you want. I probably won't use it there, but I will work with my edges, the one that I glued together. I'm going to use my scissors. If you have like a edge punch, it's a really nice place to use an edge punch. You know, that creates kind of like a lace edge, but I'm using those scissors for now. And then I'm going to ink it. And I'll probably just do one in each of these. And it's nice to kind of do it in a combination of ways, which is if you do them all before you create your pages, then they all get covered up and it dictates which pages you can use. But if you wait until they're all done also, you want to kind of do a little bit of a variety of both, and it'll give you some variety in your journal. So I'm just gonna slide this on. You can round the edges if you want, but you can make it an actual tab shape also. I've done that. I have a video on large page tabs if this is something more that you like the idea of. I'm just kind of giving you an idea of a way to kind of begin to decorate the edges of your pages and how I use up the bits. So let me just show you some of the large page tabs. This is last year's Christmas kit. But you can see it came with the large page tabs. You can create some of your own. This also here is one of them. Here's another one. That there. Let's see. This is the Paris 1924 Fall Journal. It's actually way on sale right now as a side note, but it has some of these large page tabs and some tutorials on it where there's a side pocket. So I will mention that's another thing that you can do is add a side pocket with this tab here, and then an embellishment. I've created it using a pocket, like a window pocket. So that's a great way to add something to the edge of your page. This is last year's. Let's see. And just while we're in this journal, this is actually a paper clip, right? So you can add a paper clip with a tab on the sides or a paper clip with a dangle. So that's another tip for you there. Here's another example of that being a tuck spot, the tab, the large page tab. I really like these. You can, you know, collage on the edge, add some bling, and use it as a pocket. Let's see. This is really a fun fall kit if you're looking for a fall kit. Here's another one where it tucks in. Oh, here's some coffee dyed ruffle if I didn't show that to you. That's one of the paper ruffles. And, okay. This is also last year's winter kit. It's got actually a pocket. I hadn't put the stuff in there, but it's a pocket and actually comes with the kit. Let's see. Oh, here's one, another example of a paper clip with a tab on it. Yep, another pocket. There you go. Here's another one where you can extend when you, whatever ephemera, especially if it's a tag, let your tag roll out onto the edge so that it's got bling on the edge. Or utilize the edging of your element to create an edge. So notice how that is. This creates its own element. It's actually not part of the page, it's part of the fold out element, has a writing spot. Okay. Same idea here, which is having the items extend out past the page to create the embellishments or the things that stick out. Here's another one. This one is just an extension of the element by bringing the element off to the edge of the page and then adding something. That's what this is, just a pocket to the edge of the page. Same with this here. Oh. Here's an element. Oh. Fairly big tab. This is the Filled Follies kit, by the way. This is February's kit. And this wasn't exactly his destination. This was something else. This is another example. This journal I focused on, you know, bringing the pieces to the edge to create a unique edge. You can see I really have a love for the edges. These are some of the bits, right, that I had left over. They're perfect for belly bands also. Just gonna do one of those there. And I'm going to do the same thing. It creates a kind of a nice way the edge looks in the other signature. Okay, just thought I'd show you what I'm going to do. So I want these to basically match in length. And I loved the circle kit, and so there's lots of circles that I have left over. The first thing I'm going to do is actually join these together so that they become an edge, and I'll show you here. Like, so I know that down here I'm going to have it secured a little bit more, so I'm just going to make sure that the patterns are going the same way. And here's where I'm going to take one of my edge pieces that I like. Okay, I lied. We're going to do it a different way. I'm going to just make the tab out of my extra piece, and I open this up before I glue it down. So we'll just do it's not going to be the full length, but I want the pieces. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there, but and that way I'm just going to make it kind of extend out, but not all the way, because I'm wanting this tab part, not the other part. I just don't want a lot sticking out. I kind of forgot that with my what's going on with my edges. So yeah. So this is the part that I want to show on the other side. We'll just match that, and these can stick out just a little bit. That way, if you want something, probably make a little hole and we can add a dangle. Although, before I put, yeah, this is, make sure it's going the right direction. These are directional patterns. So, again, this is a place that I can add some stitching. So what I'm going to do here is right here down the center, like this is where my holes are. I'm just going to go through and give myself a place to sew. I don't know if you can see those holes, but what will happen now when I place this on the edge of my page, let's see, is that the holes, because they go through both sides, I can stitch there. But before I do that, I want to add a couple more elements here. So we know that the holes match. I'm just going to stick this in here. Because on this side, let's see, I want it to stick out. I kind kind of want to create an edge like that, but this is fairly big. Okay. I think this one will work. The reason I'm measuring it here now is because I want this lace in place, but I want to place the collage on top of my stitching. So I'm just going to put my lace doily, I'm going to glue it in place here. I wanted to be able to measure it. Oops, just get it. So this is another place, the paper clips that we made in the other video. This is one of them. Let me just show you this real quick. It's the same kind of an idea, but it's a paper clip. So it could be just directly added to your page, your decorative page in the same fashion, right? And then you have a way to clip, you know, something in here. I just mean like a sample, right? So I may actually even leave that one there. I've been looking for a home for it. So you could use whatever you wanted to kind of create this collage here on this one. But knowing that I'm going to do it like that, I'm just going to also get it ready to go, because once I've stitched, oops, keep this open. Yeah, when you glue it in, don't glue it to the point where you've glued it shut. Sorry. So this I'm going to want a brad. So I'm going to put the brad, I'm going to get it ready to go. This is my binding tape. Here's a little trick for you. I don't mind the back. Just going to add a couple of the smaller tags to it for strength. I didn't want these to be completely hard like cardboard, and I'm not wanting to create a bunch of bulk either, so they're super strong. And also these are so small, I'm not actually going to use any of the punches. I don't have a punch that is the right size, so I've just used my sharpest scissors to pierce a hole. I'm going to use that one in the one with this charm here, and set this aside to use with another charm in another place. Here we go. So if you don't like the way that the back looks, you can glue a different kind of paper on the back just before you cut it out. You can cut them out at the same time. Okay. So now I'm just going to place this in my journal. And probably this page right here. I'm going to slide it into place. And I'm not putting this doily on both sides, so it's just going to show on one side and not the other, right? But my holes are punched there. So at this point, I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and then I'm going to stitch. Okay, I added the glue, but one thing I wanted to show you before I go further is both of these, the edges need to be rounded, and I should have done that before I put those on. If I wanted to do that, you don't have to round your edges, but I'm just snipping my edges. So you can see here, it's really easy. I'm actually just going to use the most basic stitch. You could do a chain stitch, you could do a daisy stitch, you can get fancy, whatever you like to do. an expert embroidery person, but guess who is? Did you know that Carol is? That's right. Carol Tinson is an expert embroidery teacher, and so I'm kind of getting excited. That's one of the things that I love about her is her multifaceted range of talents. So anyway, I'm don't need to do this on camera. All right, so now just pop this in. And I did it that way so that I could hide the spinny part, and I'm just going to glue this together, probably not with that glue, here, so that it's, yeah. This kit comes with quite a few of the different colored doilies, so it might be a nice place to add some of that coordinating doily there too, instead of the white one. I wanted to use the white one because I wanted you to see that it can create a really nice contrast when you're just tucking something in there. So probably just like that. I wanted this to spin too, just for fun. It's fun if you get it all the way a little bit further to the edge. I'll show you maybe different time, but it's a fun thing to do. I'm going to add that there. To have a spinning edge, but we won't do that now. I think I've overkilled on the edges. Just going to add that. And I usually pay attention to both sides, so I'm not sure what I'm going to even tuck here, and I think this stands alone. So I'm just going to leave it and move on. Let's put the tabs in. So now I kind of have, I did quite a few before we started in the front signature. So I'm going to do some here in this signature. And kind of vary. So this is up here. So let's see, I'm gonna just maybe slide this down more toward the center and glue it in. So as you're gluing things in, what you'll want to do is pay attention to a couple of things. Pay attention to what's happening on the pages that you're gluing it to, the front and the back. Also pay attention to what's happening on the edges of your journal. And like I said, this one isn't gonna, it's not gonna stick out very far because I didn't have that much room, and we discussed that in the beginning. So okay, so we got that one in, and this one, so that I've got this tab down here, but that's in the other signature. I have this here, right? So let's commit this one a little bit further down. And they're not, you know, because they're not sticking out huge, it's not a massive worry, but it is something when if your tabs are sticking out a lot further. Again, a lot of people are like, why do you include so many tabs or whatever? And it's just because I enjoy decorating the little bits of the page. That may be something that you don't enjoy. And if you don't enjoy it, you know, don't do it. Okay, so last one here, I think I'm going to put it in this one. I think here, what I did is cut a hole because I want to do a charm here, those charms that I prepared, so to remind myself, and I think just put it in the center. I think we'll just do it in the center. So if you can see that. So another thing you can do is add the tabs on the top also. Any of the pieces that you might want to stick up and grab a place, you can add those. I may do that. Okay, so a lot of the tags and stuff that you have, if you have tags that are side by side in a row, it's a great way to also make a tab. So do that with it, maybe put that one there. Again, I don't want it to stick out too much, so I'm paying attention to the design on both sides there, and then just may make one more. You can do the same thing with labels if you have two labels that you like that are the same shape, like again, these are just little details that are not a must. They're really just things I enjoy doing. And I'm really going to suggest that as you're creating, you listen to your heart. Listen to what brings your heart joy and what your heart wants to spend the time doing. If this feels kind of like tedious or, you know, no thank you, don't do it. And I think that'll be the last tab I do. You could do the same thing with the wax seals too. Okay, so I think let's move on to from the edges. Well, one more thing. Okay, I think I opted to not actually put them in, but I wanted to show you that another thing that I do a lot is fussy cuts, placing those on the edge with cardboard to stick out on my journal. I'll show you another journal that has, oops, I figured that would be the easiest way to just do. So these are more ideas while we have them going, but you can see how I have this fussy cut sticking out. It's one of the funnest things to do is have a fussy cut hanging out of the edge. And let's see, you can do fabric tabs or lace. That's another idea. Ripped paper. You can get very creative with your edges. So just wanted to show you some of those. Think about adding stuff that you might not normally, like I was thinking I might add these on the page edge or these on the page edge, but I actually decided not to because I think the edges are busy enough. So I'm going to set those aside. And when I started to dig for things that were not in my ooh I love pile, I knew that was time for me to back off. So that's how I know when I'm kind of done, is when I'm having to go beyond my pile of ooh I love that. I know that maybe those elements are made for some. Okay, I thought that I might finish today, but it looks like I'm not. I still have so much to kind of finish up with the last bits on this journal. I still need to create in my, to place some of the items in these 3 journals here, and to kind of get the final layout of my kit and then add the rest of my tags and stuff. So there will be another video that will be tips and tricks, and that will come next, but I'm not going to get to it today, and hopefully what will happen is it'll be released next week. But I also have to film your freebie video for this next week, and sometimes that's about all I can get to. So I'm going to request that you be patient with me as I get things to you. I always come through on my promises of what I offer, but sometimes due to my health, I might be a day late or something on a freebie. I hope if you extend me some grace, I'll extend you some grace too. I created a printable for this video, which I'm kind of excited about, and it will go into your passport for the Grand World Tour, and it's kind of some travel tips and tricks on the edges, so that you'll be able to save that. That will just be for free. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. Here's the free printable that goes along with the video. You will need the password for this, and the password happens to be my favorite thing to add to a page, which is a fussy cut, all capitals. It comes two ways. You can print it the double-sided here for a large page, or smaller to tuck inside of a journal. So stay tuned for more. Hope to see you soon. I'm Rose.
We'll meet in beautiful places, one page at a time. Follow your heart, create something beautiful, gather beautiful moments, share